Hi everyone, day 39 of my live 77-day video challenge. This is Evelyn, Heart and Soul with Evelyn. I am going to continue on with my story, and after I left college, I ended up moving to Germany and I lived with my mother. And I found this photo. It's not the best photo, but you see those two apartment complexes. We lived in one of those apartment complexes, and this is in Großen Buseck, which is about 7 kilometers from Gießen and about 65 kilometers from Frankfurt, about a 50-minute drive to Frankfurt, right on the A5. Just depended how fast you drove, because as you know, the Autobahn, you could drive as fast as you wanted. I mean, they sort of recommend 130 kilometers, which is, I think, about 80 miles per hour. But you could really, some areas you could drive as fast as you wanted. And as soon as you saw flashing lights, you knew to get across, because they would be right up you if you didn't cross over. And I definitely remember that when I moved there. I didn't have a very fast car. I think I drove an Opel, and as soon as you saw flashing lights, because sometimes those Porsches or Mercedes, as soon as they got in the fast lane, they flashed their lights. They were going really quick, and you had to get over because they were right up on you. So I lived there for almost 2 years, and I ended up getting a job at a military bank. So my mom worked for the government. She worked in logistics. And at that time, it was still, the Cold War was still happening. So there were a lot of servicemen in Germany, in West Germany. So the department she worked in, she was organizing the furniture, the equipment in the mess halls, and the housing for the military, and the furniture for the barracks as well. So she would coordinate that, and she worked on these huge contracts with other people. And her rank, she got quite high when she retired. She started in 1977 and retired in 1999, and she retired at a rank of GM 14, which is quite high, but she worked really, really hard. So she knew someone at the military bank, and I was able to work there when I first arrived from Texas. Now, it was a different time back then, because we usually just handed out cash. Nothing was automated. We would get like these microfiche like film to check the accounts of servicemen. And as soon as we'd see that how much, of course it was updated like every day, but some people would get a bit sneaky. They would take money out, and then they'd go to another bank because it was the same microfiche with the same amount of money, and then they would be overdrawn the next day. It was quite complicated. Not really complicated, it was just very sort of simple-minded. So a lot of cash was used back then. And I remember when we would go to the bank, we'd have to count a lot of cash too. So in D-marks and in dollars. So we'd give both currencies out. And it was really old-fashioned, but that's just the way it worked. I really did love living in Germany right out of college. And what was great about it was that my mom was there, of course, but my brother was there as well. He was in the army, and he was stationed there from 1988 to 1991. And my aunt was in Germany as well, because her husband worked for the Post Exchange and was a Post Exchange manager. So at the Post Exchange, they would sell products to the American servicemen, towels, underwear, whatever. Most military people, they shopped at the Post Exchange. It was a little bit of a discounted price, or they would shop at the commissary to buy food, and that was also at a discounted price. So when I was growing up, and my father was in the army, I had an ID card, and I was able to go into the PX and the commissary because I was a dependent. However, because I was in Germany this time around, I was 22, I wasn't a dependent of my mom, but I could accompany her. I could go into the commissary and to the PX, but I couldn't go on my own because I didn't have an ID. So yeah, it was an interesting time. And another reason I loved it is I did have, I had a lot of relatives visit us while we were there. My sister came from the States and visited us in Germany, and my younger brother also came and visited us while we were living there. And of course, because I am half German, I had lots of relatives there. So after I graduated from college, it was kind of the right thing and the normal thing to do, and it was a fun time as well. So tomorrow I am going to share all the fun things I got up to when I lived in Germany for those almost 2 years. Yeah, it was an interesting time in history too, which I will talk a little bit about that as well. So I just wanted to share with you what I did right outside of college. I moved to Germany, worked at a military bank, was a bit backward, not backward, it just the technology wasn't the technology wasn't what it is now, and we gave a lot of cash out, which was interesting. And I loved counting the cash. That was the best part of the job back then. So I hope you've enjoyed this little episode, a little bit different. And tomorrow I am going to talk about the different things I got up to while I lived in Germany. Not just traveling, I did lots of other things, which I really did enjoy. Thank you so much for being here. And this is day 39 of my 77 live video challenge, Heart and Soul with Evelyn.